Okay, great. Thank you everyone for your patience. So welcome to tonight's presentation and webinar on claiming the 2021 expanded child tax credit and other tax credits. My name's Alini Da Fonseca. I'm a child tax credit outreach coordinator, and I am currently working on this outreach project with the Coalition on Human Needs, which is an alliance of national groups, service providers, faith groups, policy experts, and labor, civil rights, and other advocates. Our mission is to advocate at the federal level to meet the needs of the people with low incomes and increase knowledge of positive outcomes from current or proposed programs. We are working in partnership with the Partnership for America's Children on this outreach campaign. Partnership for America's Children has over 50 members who are multi-issue child advocacy organizations across 40 states. And their mission is to support its network of state and community child advocacy organizations in effective advocacy. So what is the Expanded Child Tax Credit, or the CTC? I also actually want to interject quickly here. As we go along, please feel free to add your questions in the chat or in the Q&A. I'll try to answer them as we go along. And if I don't get to them during the presentation, we will have plenty of time at the end for Q&A. So we'll make sure to get your questions answered. So the 2021 expanded CTC essentially meant more money and more families eligible for the credit. So the CTC with the expansion in 2021 came out to $3,600 per child ages 0 to 5 and $3,000 per child ages 6 through 7. And this previously was $2,000, and the cutoff age was through the age of 16. So it increased a significant amount for how much credit people can receive, and also add an additional year where a parent can claim a child. There's no minimum income requirement. Families with no earned incomes are eligible for the full credit. The credit is fully refundable, so families are eligible for the full amount even if they don't owe taxes. And families were eligible to receive half of the CTC in 2021 and the other half when they file their taxes this year, or the full credit if they did not get the advance payments in 2021. And we'll get into this as well. If they didn't get any credits last year and didn't file their taxes, there's another avenue for them to still claim the credit, which is the most important message of this presentation. So here is an example of how much money is actually on the table for families. So if we're looking at a family with a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 7-year-old, in total for the 2021 CTC, the family would receive $10,200. So in addition to that, the family may qualify for other money through stimulus payments that they may not have received yet, or other state or federal tax credits. So it's a lot of money. And a lot of money, especially for families who are now eligible who don't have earned income, can really make a big difference. So who is eligible for the 2021 CTC and how do you claim it? So an adult may have a social security number or an individual taxpayer identification number, or an ITIN, but children must have social security numbers, and those social security numbers must be valid for employment. The dependent must be the adult's child, including adopted, grandchild or stepchild, younger sibling, step sibling, half sibling, or their descendant, or a foster child placed by a government agency. The dependent must have lived with the adult in the US for more than half of the year. There's some exceptions to this, like babies who are born in the second half of 2021. And by half the year, we mean 6 months and a day. The dependent did not provide over half of their own support, and the dependent didn't provide over half of their own support in 2021. And how do you claim the 2021 CTC? So as we mentioned, in 2021, most families automatically received advanced CTC payments of $250 to $300 per child per month from July through December. Families who were not required to file taxes or did not do so in 2019 or 2020 for other reasons had to take extra steps to receive the advanced payments. And everyone will need to file tax returns this year to receive the second half or full amount of the 2021 CTC. And filing tax returns either means doing a full paper return or e-filing, or going on getctc.org, which we will talk about today. And tax day has passed, but families can still claim the CTC. This is the most important message of this presentation. If you take anything away, it's to know that just because April 18th has come and gone, that doesn't mean families who may not have realized that they could get this credit can't get it anymore. They certainly can. So individuals with no or low income can generally still file without penalty after the April 18th deadline. If they are technically required to file but are due a refund from the IRS, they can also still file without penalty. And individuals have 3 years to claim any tax credits they are owed. So there's a 3-year retroactive window. So over the next 2 tax seasons, actually 3 tax seasons, individuals who didn't know about this can still claim the credit. And that's just an important thing to remember as you take this information out in the field. You might continue to encounter people over the next year or months that don't know about the tax credit, but they could still, even if it's July 2023, or even July 2024, and you meet somebody who didn't know about this, they are still within the time window to retroactively claim their credit. And so what is getctc.org? So getctc.org is a simplified filing tool that helps you claim the CTC and the third stimulus payment. It was created by Code for America and is an IRS approved official e-file provider. It's available in English and Spanish. It's mobile friendly. It has chat support available, and most individuals finish the process in less than 15 minutes. And getctc.org is open through mid-November. And this is also important to remember because if somebody doesn't want to go through the full tax filing process, they need to, it is recommended that they go through the getctc.org process, which is much quicker and a little less cumbersome. But that that avenue will only be open through mid-November of this year. So even though there's a 3-year retroactive window, at this point, getctc.org is an option to claim the credit, or even the third stimulus payment is only available through mid-November of this year. So who can claim the CTC using getctc.org? So a family must not have yet filed a 2021 tax return. The income thresholds are, they have to have made under $12,550 if they're single, $18,800 as a head of household, or $25,100 as married filing jointly in 2021. They also have to have earned less than $400 in self-employment income. Again, they have to have a social security number or an individual taxpayer ID, and children need the social security numbers that are eligible for work. And they have to have lived in the 50 states or DC or US military facility, as well as not having had received the advanced premium tax credits. And these are credits that would be received through the insurance marketplace to help lower their monthly health insurance premiums. And so getctc.org is where you can go, and we're going to watch a quick demo video in that in just a second. We have a special, a unique URL used just for Georgia CHWs. It's there. We'll also pop it in the chat. And we recommend you use that unique URL because it's really helpful to us. It will help track all of the great work you're doing in Georgia, and we'll be able to share that back and see how much money is actually being claimed throughout the state of Georgia. So I am going to just stop sharing my screen really quickly so that I can switch to the video. So give me just a second.
This video will show you how to use the 2022 edition of Code for America's simplified tax filing portal, GetCTC. GetCTC allows families without a tax filing obligation to file a simplified 2021 tax return to access the child tax credit and the third stimulus payment. GetCTC e-files a simplified return directly with the IRS. It's mobile-friendly, accessible, available in both English and Spanish, and chat assistance is available at any point in the process. People without children can use it too, just to access the third stimulus payment. This is what GetCTC looks like at our launch in May 2022. Note that we constantly update the tool in response to user feedback, so it may look a little different later in the year. First, GetCTC will go through a few steps to confirm that it's the right tool for me. The tool asks first how I'm filing my return, single or married. Then the tool confirms that the IRS allows me to use simplified filing, since households with higher incomes or other special circumstances, like self-employment income, are required to file a full return. If, for example, I'm not sure what counts as self-employment income, additional information is available below. GetCTC will then warn me that I could get even more money by filing a full return, since I can't get the EITC or state credits from this tool. To get the first two stimulus payments, I would have to file a 2020 tax return. Those who choose to file a full return or back taxes are said to get your refund, which allows families to file using VITA services. For now, I'll opt to continue with this tool. Next, GetCTC will ask me a few other questions to confirm I'm eligible to use the tool. It lists a few additional and rare scenarios that GetCTC does not support, and will ask whether I already filed a 2021 return this year. If I already submitted a return, the IRS would reject a new one I filed through this tool. Then, GetCTC will confirm I lived in the 50 states, DC, or a US military facility last year, since overseas and territory residents are currently not eligible to use simplified filing. Finally, it will confirm that no one can claim me as a dependent, since that would make me ineligible for the CTC and stimulus checks. I've now confirmed I'm eligible to use GetCTC. In the next section, GetCTC asks for some basic information about me. I'll enter my name, date of birth, and social security number. Note that I could also enter an ITIN. As required by the IRS, GetCTC asks for my phone number. It also asks if I was a member of the armed forces in 2021, since that could impact the amount of my recovery rebate credit. As required by the IRS, GetCTC asks if I am legally blind. Finally, GetCTC asks me to agree to the privacy policy. Then the tool will check if I filed a 2020 return. If I did, GetCTC would collect my 2020 adjusted gross income, which the IRS requires from filers for authentication purposes. In this case, I'll say that I didn't file last year. On this page, we ask clients the contact method we can use to best reach them. Note, GetCTC does not require clients to create an account and does not require them to have an email address. Clients simply have to sign up using their email or their phone. In this case, I'll choose to sign up by phone. GetCTC will send me a 6-digit code that I must enter to confirm it's mine. For the purposes of this demo, I'll enter a fake code on this page. Note that if I don't finish my return in one sitting, I can log back in and continue using this contact method. Next, if I were filing married, GetCTC would collect needed information about my spouse, their name, date of birth, social security number or ITIN, and 2020 adjusted gross income, if applicable. In this case, I'm filing single, so GetCTC will skip this section. In the next section, GetCTC allows me to list my 2021 dependents. Rather than assume I've read all the tax rules, GetCTC asks me all the key questions I need to answer to make sure I can claim my dependents. Keep in mind that the pages clients see in this section very much depend on the answers they provide. First, I'll enter my dependent's basic information: name, date of birth, relationship to me, and SSN or ATIN. We ask about one specific scenario to confirm basic eligibility. Next, GetCTC will ask me to confirm a few more criteria. If at any point my dependent doesn't meet the main criterion, GetCTC will ask whether one or more valid exceptions apply. Behind the scenes, GetCTC will determine which credits my dependent is eligible for. Finally, GetCTC will show me a list of my dependents, including whether they are eligible for CTC or only for the third stimulus payment. I can keep repeating this process until all my dependents are recorded. For now, I'll say I only have one dependent. In the next section, GetCTC will determine my credit amounts. First, GetCTC will figure out how much CTC I can claim. The IRS requires families to report how much advanced CTC they received last year and subtract this from their total credit. GetCTC makes this process easier by calculating how much families should have received based on the dependents they provided earlier. I can say that I got this amount, a different amount, or no payment at all. In this case, I'll say I got the estimated amount. GetCTC calculates the remaining CTC available to me. Next, GetCTC will figure out how much recovery rebate credit I can claim. That is, the third stimulus payment. As with the CTC, the IRS requires families to report how much they received last year. Again, GetCTC will display how much I should have received based on my family structure. In this case, I'll say I got a different amount. GetCTC will ask me to enter what I received and provide some tips about where to find this information. I'll say in this case that I received $200. GetCTC will then let me review the amount I'm claiming. Finally, GetCTC will collect my payment information and allow me to review and submit my return. I can select direct deposit or a mailed check. In this case, I'll select direct deposit. GetCTC asks me to confirm that my name is on the bank account, so the payment is not rejected. I'll provide my routing number and my account number. And finally, we'll have the chance to confirm my information. The IRS also requires that I provide my mailing address. GetCTC allows me to enter identity protection pins for anyone in my family who has one, and provides more information about what an IP pin is. I'll say that no one in my family has an IP pin. Now, I can review all the information I've submitted and go back to edit anything that's wrong. On this page, as required by the IRS, I set a 5-digit PIN that I can use to authenticate when I file next year. On the next page, I'll see a final summary of the payments I am claiming. Next, I have the option to submit my driver's license information and my spouse's if I were filing married. Especially for clients without a tax filing history, the IRS may process returns and issue refunds faster if this information is submitted, and we recommend clients provide it if possible, but it is not required. If I don't have a driver's license or don't want to provide the information, I can skip this page. Finally, I'll agree to our terms on the last page, and I'll file. Just like that, I've filed my simplified return. GetCTC will alert me within a couple days whether my return has been accepted or rejected by the IRS. Most clients hear within a few hours. If my return was rejected, GetCTC will provide me with a plain language explanation of why and allow me to log back in and resubmit my return. You can find GetCTC at getctc.org. For more resources about the CTC and stimulus payments, visit getctc.org/navigators.
Okay, so that was GetCTC, but who might file a full tax return rather than file through getctc.org? So if individuals make above the filing thresholds that we talked about and or are eligible for additional money through full tax filing, something like the earned income tax credit or other state tax credits, GetCTC, they can log on to GetCTC, but by answering the questions, they will be redirected to the partner website, getyourrefund.org. And so at getyourrefund.org, individuals can e-file their claims. They can also find options for free tax assistance. So right at getctc.org, there's a link there that will help individuals identify a local VITA site for people. Many VITA sites right now are closed because it's not tax season, so a lot of them aren't open year round. So we recommend that if you do pull somebody up off of the site or anywhere that you identify VITA sites, to call ahead of time to confirm that they are open and that they can assist people. We also want to remind everyone that for couples filing jointly or for married people, both partners have to go to the filing. And also at Get Your Refund, individuals can do, as I mentioned, free do-it-yourself tax filing services. So there's limited capacity again at this time for this, but there's also virtual tax filing assistance that includes the opportunity to discuss their situation with a tax specialist over the phone. And so I'm including this as well, or we are including this as well, because there's a 3-year retroactive period. As I mentioned, you might come across in your work other people later on in the year, next tax season, that could be eligible for this. And there are also AARP Foundation tax aid sites. These provide free in-person and virtual tax assistance during tax season. They're more focused on individuals who are over 50 or have low to moderate income, but that is another resource specifically during tax season that families can be referred to for help in filing their tax returns. There's also the low income taxpayer clinics. These help individuals with tax disputes. This comes up a lot. We have a lot of questions about custody issues. They can help with that. They can also help individuals amend their taxes. So if you filed your taxes and you didn't know you could get the CTC, LITCs are where you can go for assistance with that as well. And those are open at this time. There might be some limited capacity issues with those as well, but they are open at this time. Let me just check the chat real quick. I see another. Yes, we will send both English and Spanish videos when in a follow-up email. And I see Robert's question as well. What if I filed taxes, but I didn't receive all the CTC? This is, so if there's a question about how much you got, if there was a discrepancy, you thought you should have gotten more, my recommendation is the LITCs again, or a reputable paid tax preparer that can help you amend or fix the discrepancy. But I would start with the LITCs because they're a little more focused on these things. You're welcome, no problem. So you'll also get a link to this as well. We've put together a spreadsheet that lists all of the VITA sites, AARP sites, and LITC sites in 6 major areas, centers in Georgia. And this is within a 50 to 100 mile radius. So it's not just in these cities. So it covers Atlanta, Macomb, Athens, Savannah, Valdosta, and Augusta. And this has all the VITA sites we could possibly find. So you can either go to getyourrefund.org and search there, or you can also use the spreadsheet, which you'll get a link to identify VITA, AARP, and LITC centers near your area. And check the chat again. Oh, thank you, Zoe, for putting that in there. Okay, and then it's possible that, free tax assistance might not be available for everybody, or in their area, or just places are closed, things like that. So we do want to give some resources on finding high quality free tax paid tax assistance. That says free tax assistance. It should say paid tax assistance. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it should say free tax assistance. So as I said, it's available for many families with low incomes, but may not be able to meet everyone's needs, or may just not be in the area of free tax assistance site. So if families decide to use paid services, they should be careful that preparers are submitting accurate returns on their behalf. We have a great resource here from the IRS on helping people choose a reputable tax preparer. And it just gives guidance on what questions to ask, what things to look for if someone does have to use a paid tax preparer instead of Vita services. Let's check the chat again. You're welcome. You're welcome, Gyla. And we also have this great resource from the Get It Back campaign from our friends at the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. It's available in both English and Spanish, and it's just a list of what documents are needed for somebody to bring to a tax appointment. And this is relevant for individuals who do have to do full tax returns. And now we just want to quickly go over some common barriers and concerns, questions that come up pretty regularly on this topic. So, does receiving the CTC impact other public benefits? The answer to that is no. Getting this credit will not change any federally funded public benefits that a family receives, like Social Security, SNAP, childcare subsidies, or WIC. Will receiving the CTC affect someone's immigration status or ability to get a green card? The answer to this is also no. Under current law, receiving the CTC or other tax credits does not affect immigration status or someone's ability to get a green card or their future immigration plans. Use of tax credits is not considered in a public charge determination by USCIS. Will the IRS share someone's immigration status with other government agencies? The answer to that is also no. The IRS is forbidden to share an individual's tax information with other agencies. There are some limited exceptions to this that are related to certain criminal investigations or to determine someone's tax liability. If someone falls underneath those limited exceptions category or has concerns that they do, our recommendation is to refer them to legal counsel, free legal counsel, or immigration attorneys to help them with their specific case. We also have a link there to the IRS website for more information. Again, all of these links, you'll get the full slide deck with all these links as well in our follow-up email. So can parents, caregivers claim the CTC using an ITIN, an individual taxpayer identification number? So the answer to that is yes. Adults with Social Security numbers or ITINs can claim the CTC for children who have Social Security numbers that are eligible for work. The Social Security number of the child, that is. If they have a current ITIN, they could still file to claim the CTC and potentially other credits. Unfortunately, if they have never had an ITIN and did not apply for a tax filing extension this year by April 18th, they can no longer claim the 2021 CTC. They can still apply for ITINs and to file taxes and potentially claim credits in future years, but they are not eligible to claim they are no longer eligible to claim the 2021 expanded CTC. If they have an expired ITIN, they can still claim the 2021 CTC by submitting a Form W-7 to renew their ITIN and then filing a tax return. So we have a link there on more information on this process as well. Our recommendation is that families file to renew their ITIN first and then submit their return, because the way that ITINs are processed, they're processed through a different department than tax returns. And so there could be a lag and additional steps needed. So if you encounter a family who has an expired ITIN, yes, they can still claim this 2021 CTC, but they need to renew their ITIN first and do that process first by submitting the Form W-7. And then once that's renewed, they can file their tax return. Will an individual ever have to pay this money back? So the CTC is not a loan. If someone receives payments for a child who is no longer their dependent, they may have to pay that money back. And how would this happen? This would happen, let's say, if somebody did their 2020 taxes and had a child that they claimed on that. So the IRS used that information to give them the first half of the credits at the end of 2021. And the child in 2021 was actually no longer with them or didn't stay with them for 6 months and a day. But there are protections in those situations. So for incomes below 40,000, 50,000 for heads of households, and 60,000 for married couples, there's protections. And then there's more limited protections for those with incomes below 80,000. That's for individuals or non-custodial parents, 100,000 for single head of household, and 120,000 for couples filing jointly. What if someone has not filed tax returns in recent years? So as we mentioned, people with very low incomes under that 18,800 or 25,100 for married filing jointly are generally not required to file. Even if they are required to file, generally not, there isn't a penalty if the IRS owes someone a refund. Perhaps they didn't file taxes, their income was really low, but it was like above that 25,000 or the 18,800, but they would have gotten money back anyways from the IRS. There's no penalty. There's generally no penalty for those individuals either. And as we mentioned, taxpayers can file for the past 3 years to return the refunds they are owed. So in the case though, and this is where this might often come up, is if somebody owes child support or taxes, and might not want to file for the CTC because of that, or hasn't filed their taxes because they owe back taxes, they can still benefit from claiming the CTC. The credit will essentially go towards paying off the outstanding child support or taxes first, or any other debt, and that affects their taxes, and they'll receive any amount left over from that. If it all goes towards what's owed, that will also reduce their debt, and it means that they'll be able to get tax credits in future years. And quickly just want to mention IRS letter 6419. This is a letter that went out by the IRS about the advanced CTC payments. So the IRS sent everyone a 6419 letter showing how much they got for the CTC. So this is anyone who got the full half or part of half of, or they would have gotten the half of the CTC in the second half of 2021. If the amount listed on the letter does not match what a family received or thinks they received, in the advanced CTC payments, they should check their IRS online account for the most up-to-date information and use that when filing their tax returns. And we say this because we know that there were some individuals who got this letter and there was discrepancies, or they hadn't even received any of the credit, and that could have happened if, let's say, for example, a check was mailed to them instead of automatically debited, but it was mailed to an address they no longer lived at, and the check never got cashed, but the IRS is showing that the money was sent to them. That's where there can be a discrepancy. So if you see anybody who has this letter 6419 and is expressing that they didn't get that amount, or the amount is wrong, the first thing to do is to steer them towards this IRS online account where they can check the status, the most up-to-date status. We also have a couple of toolkits with all of this information as well in there that we'll share the links with you. The partners toolkit is our main one, but we also created a families toolkit that essentially has all the basic information that a family would need, like the forms, information on immigration, things like that. Many of the resources are also in English and Spanish. And these toolkits actually are, once you have them, they're like a living, breathing document. So we update them regularly. So just by having the link, you'll be able to get the most up-to-date information on the CTC that we have going on. And again, this is just some of the stuff that's in our toolkit. So we have flyers and posters, we have messaging and press materials. We have an extensive FAQ for service providers that answers many questions. We have social media toolkit with images and script for to be used, as well as call, text, hold line, and newsletter copy scripts ready to go if anyone wants to do any large texting or calling programs to communities and families. We also have resources for immigrant families. We have that information we talked about helping to pick a tax preparer and get ready for appointment, and much, much more. We also have a listserv available. So anyone who's interested in joining our listserv, we use this specifically just to send out information and updates on the child tax credit. So if you sign up, you will get information on any sort of new updates, changes, any other free resources or upcoming public webinars that we host. So if you're interested in that, we encourage you to sign up for our email list. And again, this is my contact information. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions moving forward. And again, there's the getctc.org Georgia CHW specific URL for you to use. And we will open up to Q&A now if anyone has any questions. I'll also start popping some of these links in the chat so you have them to take with you tonight. And if no one has any questions, I guess we will close out for tonight. Again, thank you so much for coming to our presentation. Really happy to be able to work with the Department of Health and their CHW initiative program in Georgia to get this information out to you. CHWs are such trusted messengers, and we know that having this information available to share with your families can make a big difference. Also, please keep an eye out, not just for the follow-up email, but we will be putting together a survey, a very quick survey, not even more than 5 minutes in the coming weeks, and sharing that out with you. And be fantastic if you were able to answer some of our questions. Again, that'll be coming out in a couple weeks, and the follow-up email should be out tomorrow at the latest by Friday. All right, thank you so much, everyone, for coming tonight. And again, please reach out if you have any questions. Have a great night.